Jerry! Finally, dude, this game was huge. What the fuck did I just watch? What just happened? SBS, boys, we fucking shocked the world.
All right, from the depths, boys, we are back. We're back and in good moods. Great moods, actually.
Who would have thought we'd be here on this beautiful Monday night talking about a victory?
Like, there cannot be a collection of people more deserving than whatever UCLA fans are left that still support this team after the last 5 weeks that deserve a moment of happiness. And I'm relishing in it. It's 2 days removed now, and I'm still riding the high. That's that one goes in the Hall of Fame for me. I was there. I'll call it a top 5 game I've ever attended, and it very well might be top 3. That's a once-in-a-lifetime type game that UCLA fans got to see on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, not only in the UCLA record books, but also just generally in college football history books, right? Last time something like this happened was like 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, deliverance is the word that comes to mind.
I'm super jealous. I wasn't able to attend, but I was sort of living through Ross's Instagram story, Keon's videos. It looked sick.
Let me start by saying when I say that it was the perfect day, it was like the perfect day. We talked last episode about how 12:30 kickoffs are underrated, at least as it pertains to tailgating. Got out to Pasadena, Keon, around 6 a.m.?
yeah, more or less.
Yep. Met up with Keon at the Lucky Boy parking lot. Got the early crew together for the tailgate. Down some breakfast burritos. I think those have got to be about 1,200 calories a pop.
Those were huge.
But they're top. The bacon.
They're really good.
Okay. They're good. The ratios can be pretty wild. Like big potato bites. I don't know. They're imperfect, but I guess that's kind of what makes them what they are. Anyways.
But they're exactly the thing you need for a 6:30 a.m. wake-up call at the tailgate.
I think you guys set the tone. I didn't know you guys had Lucky Boy that morning. That was a tone setter.
I'll put it this way. That burrito's the reason I remember the second half. Because I did not eat lunch.
That's
so
true. Same
1,200 calories it is. Shout out Lucky Boy. But once we got down there, man, sunrise, not sunset. Sunrise was gorgeous. We had the mimosas flowing. I think the average average temperature during the pregame tailgate was, 65, 70 degrees.
It was perfect.
Yeah. Had some aerial entertainment, compliments of the Fire Martin Jarman airplane overhead. I'll tell you what, if you're a listener of this show and you've yet to tailgate Lot H, please join us. I mean, it's still a party down there. The Bruin Walk team walk thing off the bus now, cutting right through it. Epic edition, just really good vibes, despite everything. I mean, look, we had no idea we were going to win that game, and yet Lot H was that was my first tailgate of the year, being down there, and it's just a really good time. And now that we've got some magic riding on this team, I mean, let's say they call it, they win 2 games in a row, that could be a fun little, people trying to get a part of the magic for the Michigan State game, the Maryland game the following week, and let's build this bitch back, baby. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Also, hey, shout out to the SBS followers and listeners that said hi throughout the day. I got to meet like 5 or 6 of them, fans of the show, fans of the accounts. That's obviously the best fucking feeling in the world. Shout out to Josh from Lot H, listener of the pod, who I got the chance to meet and actually joined our tailgate, knocked a few beers down with us. Great dude. Appreciate the breakfast sandwich. That was delicious. I'm sure I'll be catching you at the next one. And then the game. Yeah, that was pretty cool too. Pretty good time inside the Rose Bowl. Like I mentioned, top 5, top 3 game I've ever attended. And I'll put it this way. What certainly helped was being in that locker room following the win.
I was going to save it to ask you about it a little later once we fully recap the game, but yeah.
I need the story. I didn't know we had media passes.
I'll spare the details of how this came about, but that was certainly a party and probably the funnest, I'm not kidding, the funnest 15 minutes of my adult life. Like, is that even depressing to say? I mean, like, whoever gets to do that.
No, it's not depressing to say, man. We got a podcast and we do a weekly show on the Bruins.
Yeah, that was an experience that I will never forget, and it gave me enough juice to at least get through this season and then some. So, epic time at the Rose Bowl. Kyle, where'd you watch, dude? Just TV?
I was on a golf course. I watched about 85% of the game. We had was it that day? 1:30 tea time. So I was watching from my phone, had it in the cart. It was 3 groups. So I was on a bachelor trip, 3 groups back to back to back. And it was pretty cool, actually. It was a much different experience, but you hear like 27-7, like screaming from the tee box, like touchdown. Like we were all we're all Bruins on the trip. So we were all going crazy. Everyone had it in their carts. So we weren't there, but it was still pretty cool to be with a bunch of guys that, obviously went to UCLA.
I bet you there's a lot of stories like that from this game, because this was such a game that anyone in their sane mind thought would be not worth watching. So I'm sure there's plenty of different stories of people watching this, or at least getting the scores in some pretty wild ways. That might actually be a fun hotline prompt. What was your viewing experience like for those that did not attend the Penn State games? I'm sure you might get a few stories just like that. I mentioned I wanted to go over some numbers before we get into the beef of the episode. Obviously, UCLA beats number 7 Penn State 41-37 at the Rose Bowl. This is the first top 10 team to lose to a team 0-4 or worse in 40 years, and that game was between UTEP and number 7 BYU in 1975. Penn State was a 24.5-point favorite. They were down 20 points at halftime. I believe it was my words on the show last week when I said Penn State would be covering by half. Well, hey, that actually came close to happening, except it was UCLA that was the team out in front at the half. So I wasn't fully incorrect there. UCLA, who had not led once all season going into this weekend, did not trail once all game versus Penn State. 74% of UCLA's total points scored all season long came against Penn State, and they are 5 games into the season, mind you. The 41
That's such an absurd stat that you just mentioned, dude, that we haven't led a single game the entire season. And it's true. Like, I don't think I just ever put that together until you mentioned it. And then we just do not trail the entire game against number 7 Penn State. That's so absurd.
Yeah. And that's just like scratching the surface of the surrealness of this win. A lot of it is just so of how it unfolded was just so improbable. And the more you talk about and get into the numbers and just kind of talk about how it unfolded generally, you're just like, this is almost like a Disney movie type script. 5 touchdowns total by UCLA, every single one of them attributed to Nico Iamaleava, who rushed for 3 and threw for 2. And that does not include that fucking awesome 2-point conversion to Quasi Gilmer. Just another example of this guy keeping plays alive with his legs. Absolute stud performance by Nico. UCLA going into this game was 31% on third downs. Heading into the game, they went 63% on third downs on Saturday. That's doubling their season average for those that are not good at math, going 10 for 16. UCLA nearly doubled Penn State in the time of possession battle, 39 minutes to 20, give or take a few seconds. And finally, this was UCLA's first top 10 win in its last 16 tries. Can anybody guess where that last win came from?
No.
2016.
Not 26. No, in 16 tries, not since 2016.
Oh,
it's been 16 tries. First off, I'm surprised because the game was in 2010, by the way. It's when we beat number 7 Texas in Austin. I was surprised to hear that we've played a top 10 opponent 16 times in the last 15 seasons. Does that not seem like a lot?
I can't tell you which ones they were. I mean, obviously, there's probably Stanford in there a couple times.
Oregon's
would be in
10.
Washington would have been top when we played them.
There might be a Utah in there.
There might be a Utah. That's what I thought it might have been. Yeah.
But this begs the question. Where does this rank in the greatest upsets in college football history? It's up there. It's up there.
I was talking about it with some of our crew, Ross, as we were walking out of the Rose Bowl, still in shock and disbelief. That it was the first thought that came to my mind was Michigan App State, that it rivaled in terms of upset potential.
Yeah, I think the Michigan App State one is always going to be hard to beat just from the difference in name brands from Michigan to Appalachian State, and at that, App State was on the road. But, dude, what people forget about that App State team is that they were in the midst of a back-to-back-to-back FCS national championship run. So, it's FCS, but that was still a really good team for what they for the level of football that they played. So, it was an FCS kind of off-brand name going into the Big House beating Michigan. That's a massive deal, but that was still a much more cohesive football team than what UCLA has been throughout these first several weeks. I mean, UCLA was the worst football team I'd ever watched in my life, excluding some bad high school teams.
But I think it's also all the other factors, Ross. We don't have a coach. We don't have an offensive coordinator. We don't have a defensive coordinator.
Exactly.
Just the power of friendship.
Yeah. No, UCLA was the team of vibes. There was that one banger tweet, I forget who put it out, that put it that exact way. It's like, we have no coaching staff. We are just vibes. And that's kind of what I was getting at, is that, like, it might not show in, we're a Power 4 team. It was a conference game. The spread was,
at home.
Yeah. But if you just really look at context here, this is probably maybe a top 5 FBS upset of all time.
I don't think to the naked eye, like, someone would look at this UCLA and Penn State, UCLA brand name, Big Ten, and be like, oh, it's one of the top 10 upsets in college football history. But if you know ball, if you're a UCLA fan, you've watched us the last, 3 games, 4 games, you 100% can look at this and be like, how is this not, in the top 10? Like, I think maybe Ross said it, shock factor. The shock factor on this got to be top 5, in my opinion, like, all time.
Because, dude, it was 7 days prior this team couldn't do anything against Northwestern.
Couldn't get a first down.
Couldn't get a first down against Northwestern. And, dude, the only delta that's there is Jerry. I mean,
yeah.
I'll get into the job that Tim Skipper did, and I'm really high on him now, as is basically everybody. But the only real, like, just difference between last week and this one was the play calling on the offensive side of the ball, and that delta is Jerry Neuheisel. I think the visible difference just in the opening drive alone was enough to sort of just say, like, wow, this is already noticeably different. The running game set up multiple second and third manageable situations. The run blocking looked good. Pass plays that were clearly designed to get the ball out in, like, a timely manner, but weren't too conservative. Used the tight ends, used wideouts on digs and slants. I mean, from the first 5 snaps of the game, I was like, this is already an offense under much different direction.
I mean, when's the last time we put up 280 yards rushing in a football game? Granted, I know all of that was
3 seasons.
Under Chip Kelly, for sure, would be the last time we've done that, unless that Iowa game had something somewhat close.
That was up there, but 280. I mean, what was our rushing per 5.4 yards per rush?
The running backs were putting up about 5, but Nico himself, his average must, if you exclude sacks, multiple massive runs by him.
And you look at this, I don't think this might have been the lowest penalty game that the UCLA has had in the last since Foster took over. 5 penalties for only 35 yards.
And none of those penalties came at times where it's just like, God damn it, like, no backbreakers really,
Yeah, like no holds that on second down that puts you at 2nd and 20, like that's a drive killer, right? Like none of that happened at all.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask a question of you guys off script here a little bit. I know we could talk about the numbers, and the numbers are really good. Obviously, what Nico did on the ground and in the air, and Quasi, and all the defensive plays that were made. But what was the moment in the game that you guys were like, "Holy shit, we might do this"?
I think it was. For me, it wasn't until that 4th down, because it got a whole nother set of downs, and it was with the under 7 minutes at that point. And maybe it was when we went up 2 scores, but then Penn State came down and scored pretty quickly.
Yep.
I mean, another point in the game, this was really early on, was the onside kick. I was
the onside kick is when I knew that this was a team under, like, new direction, because, like, just scoring in the opening drive was already kind of a statement. But to Tim Skipper's credit, man, I know we all want to talk about Jerry Neuheisel, but the decision to kick that onside kick, just
some cojones,
big titanium balls on that guy.
And it was like a really perfect onside kick.
Okay, absolutely perfect kick by Mateen Bagani, who I believe might actually be the best kicker in college football. And not even me being a fucking homer. Pull up his numbers. I mean, he can't have more than 3 career misses at UCLA. I mean, he missed one, but that was like a 57-yarder. Like, kid's bound to miss one eventually.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bad miss.
It was.
Was it?
Go watch
from our angle. Where we were sitting, Ross.
He really pushed that one, but shit happens. But then second shout out, not to get too into the weeds on this onside kick. Shout out Kanye Clark for securing that ball. Just how difficult it is to track and then, like, actually field that ball off the bounce. it's so awkward and so like difficult to actually to pull that off. I mean, he had his back against the sideline. If that ball takes a weird bounce or he misjudges that by just an inch, that ball's bouncing awkwardly off the ground and going out of bounds. So like really big play by him. I think that kind of gets lost in all the madness, but that's the play that shifted the whole tone of the game, and I credit Kanye Clark just as much as I do Mateen Begani on that one.
If you were a kicker, if you had a kicker that could like look at that edge player and just see if he turns his back, could there ever be like a play where you could say like, hey, the gunner, be ready, like, and it almost be like a read option?
That's a really good question. All I'll say is this: Mateen sold the kickoff really, really well, and he did not pull for that onside kick until the very last second. I mean, if you go back and rewatch it, his approach to the ball off the tee, they must practice that a lot, or the guy just got a natural gift for surprise onsides, because that's the cleanest one I've ever seen in my life.
The other one that Mateen did that won't show up on the box score is the kickoff after the safety, dropping it in the exact right spot to make Penn State return it, and take 5 or 6 seconds off the clock, and put his kicking team defensive players in a position to make a stop. I think that is equally as important as any of those long-range field goals that he hit.
That was very impressive, but that reminds me of the decision by Tim Skipper, the play before, to take that safety. I mean, they caught Penn State completely flat-footed on that. That took like 8 seconds off the clock right there. I think if they would have taken that safety and probably only taken off 4 or 5 seconds in Penn State, or even like 3 or 4 seconds, if Penn State really sent guys after him, that might not have been worth it, because they get the ball, it's called with like 25 seconds left. Did they have? No, they used all the timeouts. No timeouts. That still would have been tough on them. But the thing is, though, taking that safety, a touchdown now wins the game for Penn State. So there was definitely some more titanium balls shown by Tim Skipper with that. But it paid off, and I mean, it's kind of an indictment now. I mean, after watching the game that Tim called with, his use of timeouts, the onside kick, taking the safety, clock management, what an indictment that a guy like him and Jerry, they were sitting underneath people like Deshaun Foster, guys like Tino Sinceri, who never held a lead. Just, that's a bad building out of a coaching staff.
And I think that just goes back to experience. Like, I mean,
second-time interim coach.
That, but like he's been around the block. He's been in the business for a long time. I mean, not that Foss hasn't, but a little bit more. I mean, like we always said, Foss has been a running backs coach. Like he never had to really make any types of decisions on the fly. I'm sure the game is moving much faster down on the sidelines too than it is, watching from the TV. But yeah, I agree. I mean, it was like the 4th and 1s, right? The cadences, Ross, the, just sort of game management, and then, calls like the onside kick. Big cojones.
I was going to say, for me, and Ross, I still want to hear your answer. The play that was like, oh shit, we might win this, or at least got me believing a little more, because like you said, like at one point you were just like, all right, it's cool to have this lead, and now they're going to go into halftime and they're going to fucking lock in and put some points. For me, it was the fumble and the fumble recovery at the start of the second half,
which we did nothing with.
We did nothing with it, but that showed me, oh shit, this team actually might do it, because for one reason or another, Penn State went into the half and came out and just didn't look good, and that's when I was like, oh shit, we just recovered a fumble on their side of the 50. We could actually pull this thing off.
Yeah, that punch out, I think it was Key Lawrence, number 4, the safety. Dude, one more thing that I want to say about Skipper is, can you even imagine how difficult it would be to get a team of young guys to, like, not just completely quit after the start to the season that they had? Like, they were a national laughingstock, man. Like, to get them up for a number 7 opponent and to get them just to believe that they can win this game, I mean, that alone is a massive accomplishment that I don't think too many guys can do. I mean, we just talked about it. I had the chance to be in the locker room after the game. Just listening to Skip talk to the team during the celebration, that guy radiates positivity. I mean, the players fucking love the guy. I mean, tons of charisma, very likable. Yeah, not to throw shade, I don't want to really get into this, but I think this team has obviously really lacked a vocal, charismatic leader in the locker room. And I think their reactions to him talking after the game, how they played and responded to him on the sideline, they showed it throughout the broadcast, how he was and how energetic he was. I think the team's response to that is a big message as to what they were lacking in the first few games of this season, because we all know Foster wasn't the most animated guy on the sidelines. He wasn't the loudest guy. He wasn't the best speaker in front of people. So to see Tim Skipper giving his speech after the game in the locker room and the way the team was just so fired up and so happy for him, I think it goes to show what was missing in those first 4 games.
And this is I want to bring up Nico. You mentioned him right there. Obviously, this is his legacy game. I think he's a very real chance that Nico leaves UCLA at the end of this year. But UCLA fans are always going to remember this Penn State game, and it's a credit to him. I was really impressed with him because all the shit that people talked this entire offseason about what a selfish guy he is and how much he's full of shit and all these things and really isn't about it. He was out there when the defense would get a stop, being one of the first people to high-five the defense getting off the field. He'd be running down to the line of scrimmage when we would make a big play upfield, whether it was a quasi catch or a running back breaking out. So I just want to give credit to him. Obviously, the stats are really good, but also more just in terms of attitude and keeping locked in, being 0-4. I feel like we've all been on bad sports teams, whatever sport. And if you're in that position, it's really tough to find the enthusiasm and the will to keep playing your hardest, especially when you have a really high caliber opponent, and you need a really special leader.
That's funny you say that, Keon. I was just talking to one of my buddies, played D3 football at Occidental College here, very close by. He was on a 0-12 Occidental football team, and he said, I've been in those locker rooms where you're playing Chapman was really good and like Redlands, and he said, I've been in those locker rooms where a coach is trying to fire you up and you pretty know damn well you're going to go out and probably lose 60-0. And he was like, we were talking about after the game. He's like, I don't even know what I would have said to the UCLA football team before going out and playing Penn State. And like to do this is something just remarkable.
Dude, I think so. The situation and kind of the circumstances surrounding how Nico got to UCLA, that's one thing. But obviously there's been like a big effort on social media and in the national media to really kind of vilify Nico as this money-hungry dude, selfish guy, not a team player, quit on his guys. After half a season of following the guy, I'm like, again, the situation being what it was, I won't get into that. But from what I've seen from him on UCLA, kind of in that silo, I see absolutely none of that. Whether it be what he says to the press. First off, the fact that he's still on the fucking team. I mean, I'm not going to commend a guy for not quitting on the team, but like he's still with the Bruins after that 0-4 start. There was a question he was asked in the press conference, and his answer to it, I don't know what the question was, but he was like, I told the guys, like, if you don't want to be here, then just quit the team. But like, I'm still here. And hearing that come from him, a guy that I've just been told is only about himself and came to UCLA just for the money and all that. I mean, I'm just not seeing it with him. Comes off the sideline to go, celebrate with the defense. First guy off there to celebrate with them. So, I mean, I'm big on Nico. I'm big on the throwing Samoan. Okay, one thing I do need to apologize for is lately I've been pretty bad with getting the hotline pushed onto the socials. I know we had a little good run going there, but given I was at the game yesterday, that's the one downside of going to these games is that I'm just not thinking about the Instagram or the Twitter account. So SBS is kind of like sidelined from the initial reaction for the first hour. So apologies for not pushing the hotline. And we had a couple of questions on Instagram and Twitter saying, could we call in yet? We did get a couple, but one that I did want to play. This is a first. It's a first because we haven't won a game this year. We had an opponent's fan calling in to voice some frustration. Was it Phil from Philadelphia? You think that's a real name?
Probably not.
Let's hear it.
It's Phil from Philadelphia. I'm pissed. What happened to the Knicks? F the Bruins. At least the Phils are going to beat the Lads. right now. I'm hearing it over the TV. They're going to beat them. Go Phils. See ya.
Okay. Have they always been called the Nits?
I don't know about that one.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Phil's clearly a Nits fan, and then Kyle. I guess I should ask you who are the Phillies going to beat?
The Lads, the LADs, our abbreviation.
Oh, okay.
That's so stupid.
I've never heard anyone call the Dodgers the Lads.
Dude, did you just piece that together live on the spot?
Yeah, I'm a smart guy. I don't know what's UCLA.
Are you bullshitting? You've heard that before.
No, I swear to God.
Because that's I kind of love that. I think that's kind of
Lads.
We're the Lads.
This poor Phil. He went 0-2, and now he had a sliver of hope tonight, but that got taken away from him too.
I've got a UCLA related question. God forbid. What do you think? What does this mean for Jerry? I mean, it's one game, so we can't. I'm not going to let ourselves get too far ahead here. But let's say the offense continues to look improved. We are in the middle of a head coaching search. What comes of Jerry Neuheisel in Westwood on the UCLA staff once this season wraps? I feel like we kind of just, in a fucked up way, Jerry kind of just coached himself off the staff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
He's not going to take another demotion. The guy clearly is ready to call plays. He's been on the staff for, let's call it 10 years. He had that 1 year in Texas A&M where remember that? He was on the Texas A&M staff during the comeback, which is hilarious.
It was weird.
But been with the program for, let's call it 14 years now. The guy's ready to call plays. He's made it very clear that he wants to be head coach. So, I can't imagine that whatever head coach UCLA brings in is going to be just like, oh, well, there's a sentimental guy on the sidelines that I need to retain, or at least I need to have him call plays. I could see him giving him some sort of positions coach designation, but I can't imagine that some high-paid coach is going to come in here and then just make Jerry OC for the sake of it. So I'm almost thinking that this means that Jerry's out and he's going to go find a coordinator position elsewhere.
I could see a head coach coming in. Let's say Jerry, does well for the remainder of this season. Why wouldn't I feel like he would get in at least an interview, right, with whoever that head coach would be to come in for the offensive coordinator position? Most likely, they'd probably bring in their own, staff.
I would kind of hope
he gets an interview at least.
I meant I almost would kind of hope that whoever we bring in is going to bring their whole staff.
I mean, if the guy let's say UCLA goes somehow 6-6 and the offense is great in the remainder of the games. If I was coming as a head coach, you obviously watching college football, you're not living under a rock. This guy's obviously got some talent. I would at least interview the guy.
Yeah, I want to play 4D chess here. How about we go and hire a mid-ass head coach that maybe gets us to back to 5 or 6 wins a year, fire him in 2 years. Jerry goes and finds a play calling position somewhere in the country, bring him in as head coach in 2028. I mean, I think the one takeaway from this game is Jerry Neuheisel one day is going to be head coach at UCLA.
And this is what makes it so important, this next hire, because we talked about this in previous episodes, how we all kind of are on the same page about not wanting a UCLA legacy hire right now, because that'll essentially close the door on all UCLA legacy hires in the future. And I agree with you, Ross. I don't think this is his job right now. He did a great job. He could do a great job the rest of the season, but I don't want us to look at this whole situation with these rose-tinted glasses of these few upsets maybe, and this, one of the biggest upsets in the last 40 years. Everything you said about Jerry, true. Stand-up dude, bleeds blue and gold, and I do think he'll come back and coach this team. But I just think right now we need somebody still with head coaching experience to stabilize the ship.
I think the best part is knowing that he's never just going to get away. Clearly his heart lies with UCLA. So even if we do, kind of let him swim, go get coordinating experience elsewhere, that's not a guy that we're going to be like, God, I wish we didn't let him go. Because I think it was Bruce Feldman that reported maybe today or yesterday that UConn and Jim Moore apparently offered him a coordinator position for this past season. And
I didn't know that.
He turned it down to stay at UCLA. So that's kind of all you need to know as to where his heart lies. I mean, he said in the interview, in the post-game presser, I love UCLA. I love college football. I mean, that kind of goes without question. But just if you want to, see some real proof in the pudding, the guy apparently turned down a coordinating position. Granted, it was UConn, but we all know his history with Jim Mora. And a play calling position in FBS is a play calling position in FBS. So I'm giving it. Actually, I don't want to give it 5 years, because then that means the guy that we're about to hire is going to fucking flop. I don't know.
What would be the odds on that, Keon? The exact Jerry Neuheisel to be UCLA head coach in 5 years.
You're in the plus thousands, maybe plus tens of thousands.
Well, hey, here's best case scenario. We go get like a Will Greer, who's 35. Is he 35? Right around there.
He's young.
Get a young up and comer. He crushes it, and then like Kirby Smart gets struck by lightning in 4 years. All right, there you go. Then they go ahead and take Will Greer from us, and then we bring back Jerry. So it's not like we need a disastrous hire to bring him back in the near term. It's a best of both worlds. We need to hire Will Greer.
Is it Will Greer or is it Will Stein from Oregon?
Did I say Greer?
Yeah.
It's Will Stein.
Yeah.
Who's Will Greer?
Name sounds very familiar.
Hold on.
He's a quarterback.
He was the quarterback
Cowboys.
He was the quarterback for West Virginia.
Yes.
Yeah. He's the brother. Remember this? He's the brother of Nash Greer. Do you guys remember who Nash Greer is?
No.
Really?
Who's Nash Greer? Yeah.
Let's see what
American internet celebrity?
Yes. You guys know
that guy?
Yes, remember him? The guy with the blue eyes.
Yes.
That fuck-ass Vine guy.
Yeah, now I know him.
You didn't know that his brother was Will Greer?
No
I don't know,
clue.
I don't know how I pulled that name out over Will Stein.
Will Stein?
I mean, when's the last time? Is Will Greer still playing football?
I don't think so, man.
No
He's on
shot.
the Cowboys.
Oh, he's there.
There you go.
Wow, he is. Yeah, he is. He's active on the Cowboys roster right now. Anyway, to bring it back, I think if we hire Will Stein as our head coach, I think Dan Lanning might poach Jerry to stay on the West Coast and go up to Oregon. I wouldn't like to see it in green and yellow, but he fits the mold. He's a young coaching staff, run and gun offense, quarterback friends of a coach, former quarterback. It fits that mold.
I'll tell you what, if Jerry can even find a quarter of the success that he produced on Saturday and spreads that out over the rest of the season, assuming this isn't just like a flash in the pan, the rest of the season is a disaster, he's going to be one of the hottest up-and-coming commodity splash hires at the offensive coordinator position this upcoming offseason coaching cycle.
Which is exactly why whoever's coming in should interview him.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. I think I'm just too set on the idea of someone bringing stability and like a proven system and bringing just their guys. But, I mean, yeah, I guess if you've already got this one prized cow sitting in your ranks, why not retain him? I don't know. They don't pay me to do it. They don't pay me to do anything. Again, this podcast bleeds money.
Hey, except for that check coming from Onyx.
Yeah. Onyx, America's #1 social sports book. Give promo code SBS after depositing $10 to Onyx. Get $100 in free gambling credit. Again, that's promo code SBS on Onyx, America's #1 sports book.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was fucking sick. Okay, what else? Okay, you know what really I'm tired of seeing? I'm tired of seeing a lot of things on social media. Is us getting clowned for the bad crowd storming, the field storming. Saying, oh, UCLA didn't have enough fans to storm the field. What was it like? I mean, I'm not saying it was a big crowd. Let's call it 40K, 39K.
I think the official was 37 or
39.
Let's call it 30.
ESPN at least.
Let's call it 39K. I think maybe 20 people might have gotten on the field that should not have. I definitely was not one of them. Like, if it would have been like the student section actually tried rushing the field and that's what it looked like, yeah, sure, clown us. But there was no field rush. That was just the team out there. And there's this picture. There's a picture of the team and all the staff on the field. Like, oh, look at this piss poor attempt to storm the field. I'm like, who's storming the field? No one's storming the field. The students are all up in the fucking stands. That's the team.
I don't think people can wrap their minds around a 0-4 team beating a top 10 team and there not being a Storm field.
Yeah, and we got just as much flack for that. Like, okay, well then why aren't you storming the field? You just beat, but go try and storm the field at the Rose Bowl and see what happens. Especially if you're coming from the student section, you will legit get tackled and beat with a baton. Go ahead and try. Okay, one more note I want to make about Jerry, not to beat a dead horse, because I'm actually going to do the opposite. One critique I have of him that I had a serious issue with. What was the 4th down play call on that? It was the second to last driver. Penn State stuffed us, and then they took over at, it was either our 30. It was like.
It was on our own, yeah.
It was like the 35.
Immediately field goal.
So it was like 3rd and 2, I think. And then I love this play call. We had I think it was Anthony Woods out of the backfield. They send a blitz, had Woods wide open in the flat. And then Nico just kind of threw him an awkward ball that kind of forced him to turn around. And he was wide open. He probably would have ran for 30 yards. And the pass just kind of like forced him to trip up despite the catch and just fell like literally half a yard before the line to gain. Then the next play is 4th and 1. Why are we going in the shotgun? I was telling you that, Keon. And I rewatched the broadcasts on CBS today. They have a little 2-hour clip from Roswell Bruin. Shout out Roswell Bruin. That's a Bruin legend. I don't know if you guys are familiar. I think it's a dude. He's been posting full reruns or just like a full broadcast on his Facebook for like 20, or let's call it 15 years. You can find any game ever by Roswell Bruin. There's like a link to it. Highly recommend. Shout out Roswell Bruin. He has the Penn State game already up, so I watched a 2-hour rerun of it. And Gary Danielson and Brad Nessler were both saying when they lined up, they're in why are they in the shotgun? I'll never understand why in 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 situations why teams don't just fucking get under center. Why are you gonna make it? You're making it like a 4th and 5 at that point.
Yeah,
get under center and sneak it. Nico's a dog when it comes to getting like dirty yards. Like he sticks the ball out, he's aggressive. Fucking put him under center and sneak it. Don't get cute and do this like shotgun design run shit. You know what I'm talking about now, Kyle?
Yeah, I actually, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the broadcast, I don't think they were supposed to snap that.
Yes, that's true. Well, yeah, Tim Skipper's reaction.
I don't think Tim Skipper was like looking around like, what?
Yeah,
I don't they were going for a jump.
Yeah, I don't think that ball was supposed to be snapped.
Because the CBS guys were saying, I don't know why they didn't go again with the delayed double clap cadence, because they've been doing it all day and getting them to jump. Why not try that again on the most critical 4th and short situation of the game thus far? I mean, this is where the game is decided right here. If they get this, the game's over. And then we just snap it and run some like hinky-dink, like ugly design run out of the shotgun. It made no sense. And you're right, Kyle. Tim Skipper was looking around being like, why the fuck did we just snap that ball?
Yeah.
So thank God we won, because had we lost because of that, what a way to deflate all of the we've been hyping up the coaching staff all episode. That would have come just totally crashing down.
Big time. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, we still have an assortment of SBS merch left in the stockpile. So, given vibes are high, go grab a shirt from SBSGameDay.com. We've got smalls, mediums, larges, extra larges, and I think perhaps a couple of double XLs and maybe one triple X. We did see somebody, I don't know who this is. I was at the Rose Bowl and there was a giant of a human being walking around wearing an SBS shirt. The guy must have been like 6'8" and was a fucking tank. I need to find out who that was. I took a picture of him. I put him on Twitter. I didn't mean to stalk the guy, but I just saw an SBS shirt, and the guy looked like the giant from Game of Thrones. That was pretty sweet.
Was that the new member shirt he was wearing?
It was a new member shirt that he was wearing. Yeah. I was wearing it myself, but I didn't want to bother.
Identify yourself on the hotline.
I mean, you know what I could probably just do is go into our Shopify and... but that's invasive.
Yeah,
I won't do that. But I can't imagine we sold more than one triple XL. But anyways,
Ross on his businessman vibe tonight.
Yeah, I've sold out heavy on this episode. But yeah, so get your merch now, and that's all we got today.
I thought we were gonna do the outlook on the remainder of the season.
Oh, okay. I'll say this. I don't think it's unrealistic to spitball the idea of UCLA making a run at a bowl game this year.
Yeah, that's exactly what. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying
where the 5 wins. Where's the 5 wins coming from?
All right, let me pull it up.
got Michigan State, Maryland.
Okay, there's
Ohio
2.
State, Indiana.
Nebraska at home. You got to win Washington or SC.
Okay, here's the thing, Kyle. I mean, Keon, what kind of question is that? We just fucking beat Penn State.
That's right. That's right.
Who isn't a possible win here, apparently.
What?
They're going to win out.
What would we do if
State.
I was about to say that. I was going to say, what would we do if we go march into the shoe in Columbus?
I mean, dude, here's my take on the Penn State game. Is
Hire
that, like,
Tim Skipper.
here's the thing. Here's my take on the Penn State game. Is like, this was not. I mean, it was a massive Penn State L. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like Penn State lost that game. UCLA won that fucking game, and they looked like the better football team the entire ball game. And it was from good open field tackling. It was from good pass protection. It was a good rushing game, averaging 5 yards a carry. Nico looked like a fucking Heisman contender. He got National Player of the Week. I mean, it was good play calling. It was good clock management. They did everything right. This wasn't fluky. Matter of fact, Penn State was only in that game because we gave up a fluke blocked punt because some guy literally just walked straight to the punter and received the slap on the ass on the way there. So that's what. So here's my point: is that, like, Keon asks, like, who where are these wins going to be found on the remainder of the schedule? It's like, if they play like that again, it can be anybody. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying we're going to go to Ohio State and win, but if you would have told me that we were going to beat Penn State and basically dominate them the entire game the way we pretty much did, aside from that fucking block punt which got them back into it, I would have said you're genuinely out of your mind and you're on drugs.
I mean, you look at you take wins at Michigan State, home versus Maryland. You lose at Indiana. You beat Nebraska at home. You lose at Ohio State. You go into the Washington and SC game, and you have to win them both to make a bowl game. That would be a fun.
Why not us?
I mean, fuck it, dude. I'm here for it. Like, I'm gonna be watching the Michigan State game in Chicago. That'll be cool. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm picking a bar. I'm currently got some. I'm gathering some intel to find out what is the UCLA bar in Chicago, if there is one. I'm gonna promote the shit out of it once we select this bar, and I'm throwing a fucking watch party in Chicago. Vibes are high. I'm gonna try to capitalize.
let's do it.
If I can get 5 people, that'll be historic. Just 5. If
How many are you traveling with?
well, that doesn't count. I'm traveling with a lot.
The 5 is going.
5 people. Traveling with 5 people. Why?
I did it.
But yeah. So, Kyle, your question was my outlook on the rest of the season. My answer is, last week I said 0-12 was not just likely, but anything but a literal certainty. Now I'm saying that UCLA going bowling, it's not nearly as impossible as I thought it would be. It's actually, I would give it a 15% chance of happening. Boom!
One thing I want to just bring up, it's in this new era of college football and the CFB, there's a lot more college football games or college football playoff implication games than there was before. Like, this game very much was a playoff game for Penn State. Mm-hmm. It wasn't obviously for UCLA, but for all intents and purposes, Penn State just got knocked out of the playoffs.
Yeah, now they got to go beat. They got to beat Ohio State. They got to beat Indiana.
They got to win out. They really need to win out.
They're cooked. All right, that's all we got. Thank you as always for tuning in. And if you have hung with us all season, we hope that you've finally been rewarded with a little bit of optimism on this show, because the vibes are high, and we hope they stay that way. With a big win over Sparty this Saturday. Is it East Lansing? In East Lansing. So I'll be out of commission the next couple of weeks, so the podcast schedule and our release dates might be a little spotty. But whenever that time is, hopefully we're recapping another win, and that you guys are tuning in and having fun with us on the SBS pod, as we always do. But until next time, go Bruins. Continue to enjoy this win, and we'll see you next time. See you later.